Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever worked even a single shift in the service industry, you already know the deal, right? It's a world of just incredible highs and intensely challenging lows. It's an environment that demands constant energy, really quick thinking, and above all, a seriously thick skin. So today, we're diving straight into a highly practical survival guide for service industry professionals, pulling directly from our source material. And we're not just talking theory here. This is literally about surviving the front lines. We're going to break down exactly how you can deliver exceptional service without completely draining your own mental and emotional reserves. We're talking specific attitudes, those crazy everyday scenarios that test them, and ultimately, the fine art of keeping your own personal boundaries intact. All right, let's get right into it.
Section 1. Daily Service Challenges.
Okay, let's just instantly step right onto the floor during a busy shift. Imagine it. The phones are ringing off the hook, the line is literally out the door, and the ambient noise is just deafening. You're the face of the business, which means, well, you're also the immediate target for any frustration, any delay, or any misunderstanding that a customer happens to experience. Picture this. A customer is screaming at you over an expired coupon they absolutely insist you honor, totally ignoring the massive line forming right behind them. It is chaotic and it's unpredictable. And it brings us to a massive question. What do you do when a customer makes an unreasonable demand? Honestly, when someone directs their anger at you for a policy you didn't even create, what's your immediate reflex? For a lot of us, it's either freeze up, fight back, or just completely cave in and sacrifice our own dignity to make the problem go away. But, as our source material points out, there's actually a much more structured, professional way to navigate all this friction.
Section 2. 5 Core Workplace Attitudes. So, let's take a deep breath, step back from the total chaos of the front line for a second, and look at the internal preparation you need to handle it. Because here's the thing. You can't control how a customer is going to act when they walk through that door, but you can control the internal stabilizing forces that you bring to the interaction. Our source outlines a very specific framework for this. We're talking politeness, patience, empathy, emotional control, and problem solving. Now, I know it's super easy to hear this list and just write them off as standard corporate buzzwords, but within the context of our source material, these aren't just empty words in some dusty training manual. No, they are 5 essential weapons you use to navigate workplace friction. Think about it. Politeness is your shield. It keeps the whole interaction professional. Patience is your pacing. It lets the customer vent before you take action. Empathy is your bridge to de-escalate their frustration. And problem solving? That's your ultimate exit strategy to actually resolve the issue. But there is one attitude here that really acts as the foundation for the whole shebang.
Notice how this source material specifically zeroes in on emotional control. It defines it as the ability to manage your own feelings and reactions, maintaining professionalism even when facing intense external pressure or anger. So the absolutely crucial point here is that emotional control is your anchor. It's the anchor. Because if you lose your emotional control, your politeness just vanishes, your patience completely evaporates, your empathy quickly turns into resentment, and, well, problem solving becomes pretty much impossible. Emotional control is literally that invisible barrier that stops you, the service worker, from absorbing all that customer negativity and taking it home with you at the end of your shift.
Section 3. Solving 4 Sudden Scenarios. Okay, we've talked a lot about internal mindsets, but now we need to shift our focus to actual external actions. It is time to test those 5 core attitudes against the real-world monsters of the service industry. Our source explicitly identifies 4 sudden, super high-stress scenarios that happen constantly on the job, and it shows us exactly how to map our internal attitudes to those external threats. First up, customer complaints. When someone's complaining, what do they want most? They just want to be heard, right? That's exactly why you pair it with empathy to validate them and emotional control so you don't take the complaint personally. Next, wrong orders. This is a purely logistical failure, so you instantly deploy problem solving to fix the mistake, but you wrap it up in politeness to smooth over the inconvenience. Third, we have language barriers. This one requires pure patience. Getting frustrated here only makes communication way harder. And finally, unreasonable demands. This is the big one we asked about earlier. Notice how it requires emotional control, but also something totally new: boundaries. You've got to stay calm, for sure, but you absolutely do not have to say yes to the impossible. Honestly, this matrix is basically a cheat sheet for surviving your shift.
Section 4. Protecting employee boundaries.
If you've been working in service for a while now, this is hands down the most important takeaway of all. The ultimate secret to longevity in this industry isn't just slapping on a smile and pushing through the pain, it's self-preservation. Our source highlights that practicing these scenarios isn't just about making the customer happy, it is equally about protecting the employee's own boundaries. Think about customer service on one hand, which is the focus on solving issues, displaying empathy, and maintaining politeness. And then think about employee boundaries on the other hand, that's protecting your emotional limits and not internalizing unreasonable demands. Now, a lot of folks think these two concepts are basically at war with one another. They think, to provide great service, you have to sacrifice your boundaries, or to protect your boundaries, you have to give terrible service. But the source material makes it crystal clear they are absolutely not enemies. They are balancing weights. You have to hold on to both simultaneously to keep yourself from burning out.
So, the real crux of the matter is this concept of balance, drawn directly from the text. It's about delivering excellent service while fiercely protecting your own professional limits. Think about it. You can listen to a customer complaint with deep empathy, using your emotional control, while at the very same time completely refusing to accept verbal abuse. You can politely and patiently solve a wrong order without absorbing the customer's personal anxiety and making it your own. You're providing top-tier service, but you are not sacrificing your own well-being to get it done. You draw a very clear line right where the uniform ends and where you, the person, begin. I really want to leave you with this final thought straight from the source. True service doesn't mean losing yourself. As you walk into your next shift or head into your next really difficult conversation, keep the framework we explored today in mind. Equip yourself with those 5 core attitudes, deploy them strategically against those sudden scenarios, but above all else, fiercely protect your boundaries. So, how are you going to practice this balance the next time you face an unreasonable demand? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.